Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Android Authority podcast discussing topics in Android every single week. I'm your host, Joshua Vergara, and this week we have our MWC special. Now, there are a number of reasons why this particular podcast is special, not just counting the fact that I'm still in Barcelona, Spain, after having missed my flight this morning. But it is Monday, we have a podcast to bring you, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. Now, this particular podcast is full of guests, and normally during shows, we get all of the guests together, and we all do the podcast and have a merry time with maybe some drinks and talking about what happened at MWC. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this time because I was just really unable to get everybody together in one group. So with that in mind, I went ahead and got each and every person I possibly could for what was supposed to be about 20 minutes apiece. But when Michael Fischer, Mr. Mobile himself, came onto the podcast, he had just missed his flight as well. And we ended up chumming it up for a while and just having fun as us bros do. And that 20-minute segment turned into the full 1 hour and some change podcast. We still have Nicole Scott, who is the first person you're going to see on this podcast, and then Juan Carlos Bagnell from Pocketnow giving us the shorter segments before the Michael Fischer long-form podcast. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. If you don't know what was going on at MWC, watch all of our coverage here at Android Authority for everything from the LG G6 to the Blackberry KEYone to the Nokia 3310. And from there, you'll be able to see all of our great coverage here at Android Authority, so make sure you stick around, and let's get into this episode of the podcast.
And recording. Oh man, that might have been the most stressful
setup because we're in an E-class and it's quite a line.
Yes.
Quite a line.
All right, my level is a little bit high. Let me bring that down for a second. This is the coolest place I have ever done a podcast, and we only have 10 to 15 minutes?
Yeah, we have about 10 to 15 minutes, yeah.
Can you tell everybody why? I mean, you're like one of the favorites on the podcast.
It's
and
true.
You're the one
so I'm leaving on the end of day 2 because I have to go to the Samsung Roadshow. So basically it's like business to relationship building with Samsung because there are events coming up, and I want to make sure that I get an embargo.
Unbox your phone.
Unbox, because you would just use it in the box. You'd be like,
is that a new feature? Is that new? It goes right through the box.
Right through the box. Right through the box.
Oh, I'm sweating. This is just we are in a car that's not on, so there's no air conditioning.
That's true.
And also, you gave me some.
I think your butt AC might be on though. You see that blue button on the side?
That's
butt
here?
AC.
See, well, we're just gonna go through a review of this car. At
butt
this point.
AC.
Butt AC. I don't feel it.
Oh, okay. Maybe the car needs to be on.
Well, you're leaving on. This is the second day of MWC.
Yeah, I'm leaving at the end of the second day of MWC.
So as everyone has pretty much surmised from this podcast, this format, I wasn't able to get the whole crew together because we were all so busy. So the best thing I could do was just get everybody for 15 minutes apiece.
Yeah.
And because it's Nicole and because we're in this Mercedes.
Yeah.
You are. This is the last part of the podcast. You know? Saving the best for last, obviously.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, second day of MWC. Now, we've had some people that get confused and say CES, MWC.
Yeah.
So, what has popped out at you then? There's
been
a lot of stuff.
There's been a lot of stuff, but actually, I feel it's a lot quieter this year than some other years.
Yeah.
But the G6 really stole the show for me, and Snake on the 3310. I mean, for real, I bet everyone's talked about it as the show favorite. It has to be, right?
It is, but I don't know. We had talked about this a little bit the other day. I find it a bit of a cop-out that you're going to buy something because, yes, you love it, and I'm not going to discredit anybody who loves these phones, the Blackberry and the 3310, but I hesitate to say that they're different. I'm like, are they though?
They're not different.
They're not different.
No.
They're different from what we're used to now, but they're nothing new.
No, not at all. The only reason I really like the 3310 is that I think it's it's responding to the connectivity overload that we're all feeling right now.
Fair.
It's just we're always connected, we're always pervasive, and if I'm going out with you and Michael Fischer and Jaime, I don't want to talk to anyone else because everyone that I want to talk to is right here.
Yes.
Right? And so maybe when I'm out and all I need, if it just has maps, if it has half decent maps, the 3310, and then voice calling and SMS, and then if we're friends, you'll know I'm out, so just send me an SMS.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a division and a prioritization and cutting down the noise in your life. And it's not a permanent solution, it's a
It's like an alternative.
Yeah, it's a specific segment solution.
It's our alternative phone.
Yeah.
I hesitate
the
to say
second
that.
one. I mean, it's $50. Of course I can have one.
It's your sidearm.
Sidearm.
It's your sidearm.
Yeah. That I can wear here.
Oh, with
in my LG West holder.
To those of you on the video podcast, I hope you just enjoyed that. Also, I'm sure everyone's going to comment on in one way or another. You commented that I'm wearing a suit jacket today.
I was in shock. I was like, what is this?
I'm looking at the frame right now, and it doesn't look amazing. Like, I know I look different.
High.
I look very different.
Your shoulders seem like you've been working out a lot.
And I have been.
In a square way.
I know, it's weird. I knew it. I should have taken the jacket off before getting in the car, but we were rushing.
We were literally no time.
We're literally rushing at this point.
Kicked Darcy out and like, get out of the car.
Oh, dude. And Darcy was in the car just going nuts.
He was like getting a butt massage and touching the displays. And Sasha was all like, look at these vents. They've been redesigned from the last E-Class. It was on and on. I mean, it's a beautiful car, though.
Well, back to our Nokia.
Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I mean, are you kidding? Tangents on this podcast? Come on now. I welcome them with open arms. Okay, so and I get the nostalgia factor, intertextuality. I think is the term that we're looking at here, but I hope that people do buy it and actually use it, and that there are some practical use cases for it. The same thing for the physical keyboard on the KEYone, which I love. I've always loved that. But if you're only going to buy it because it makes you feel like nostalgic or because it's quote unquote cool in that sense, and you don't use it, then it's a waste of money.
Yeah,
and I'm afraid a lot of people are going to do that.
But you will probably buy it, not use it, and then play Snake till the end of time.
No, I'm just gonna make ringtones all day. Remember the MIDI support? Yeah. MIDI versions of like 24 karat magic or something.
You're gonna make a fortune on their app store. I bet they're gonna have an app store.
Also, the new Snake looks kind of weird. I mean,
but I'm down.
You're down?
I'm so down. Yeah.
And there's Darcy taking
down.
a picture of us over there. Nice.
Hey.
But okay, but you didn't say that while the 3310 will be one of the most talked about phones of the show. Are you giving this MWC crown to the G6?
Yeah.
Absolutely?
Hands down. Absolutely. Okay. I mean, finally, we're seeing a return to just what people want out of a handset. High durability. Like, LG has really taken the time to, test the angle of the corners, move the antenna lines back. I question their decision to go with glass on the back as well if they were really going for durability.
Okay.
Right? So, if they just remove the glass on the back, it have a really like a 3,300 milliampere battery, and the fact that they didn't move forward with the 35 just means that they're optimizing and tuning, and we're gonna get really good battery life, and the 21 performance is good enough.
Yeah, and the thing I've always given LG a lot of credit for, especially even with the G5, was that they're pairing back.
Yeah.
And their version of Android.
Yeah.
But there's a question that I wanted to... Hello. There's a question that I want... Everyone's peering into the car right now.
They want to see. It looks amazing.
I look to my left and I just see this.
This guy's right here.
Right on my face. God, that totally messed me up. A rare loss of form for me on the podcast. Anyway.
Well, also his eyes were like this.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry for anybody who's listening to the podcast. You should watch the video.
You should watch the video, yeah.
But here's my question: the Pixel, still used by so many of us in the industry. We all love it. It has this reliability, this sort of what I called it, that je ne sais quoi. That's just so nice about it. And what I worried about when the Pixel first came out was that Google Assistant, which I fell in love with, was going to only be on the Pixel. That's not the case anymore. So my question is, does the Pixel matter anymore?
I liked the Pixel more than I thought I would.
I should connect it back because the G6 has it.
Yeah, the G6 has it.
Yeah.
I liked the Pixel more than I thought I would. I still grab it on occasion when I really want to take banging low light photos.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that the G6 has a wider appeal because it's a sexier phone. The majority of people put cases on the back of their handset anyways. Yeah. So the face is gorgeous. The face is way nicer than what's on the Pixel, and I mean, I think the camera still is better, but I think all around I feel like I like the G6 a little bit more just because of the wide angle feature on
screen.
it. Just don't look at the corners.
No, I love the screen.
I love the screen, but once you see the imperfection in the corner, you can't unsee it. I see it often.
You do. Well, that screen works very well for the camera interface.
Yeah.
Which I think is so
nice.
nice.
That camera roll on the side is tight.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really tight.
Well, so far, I mean, the G6. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the S8 right now. I'm sure our other segments have spoken about it, but you know, I don't know. I'm in this zone right now where everybody thought that the Pixel played it safe with its design and some of its feature set, and then when you think about it, Google Assistant was its marquee feature. The G6 has the screen. The S8 will have whatever the S8 will have.
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like everyone is starting to play it safe some more.
Well, I think it's just a reaction from batteries exploding last year and the
Exactly,
module failing, and like I think everyone just realized we we have the tech. It's boring. Like, smartphones are getting boring, right? And manufacturers still haven't come out with the perfect phone.
Of course not.
Right? So, I mean, like, stop spending your energy putting in new shit and just make a phone that works.
It's really,
right?
it is really interesting that phones can become exciting again when you dial back.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, this is a really reliable phone. This is the phone that, like, so the G6 for me is one of the first phones that I think I can easily recommend to everybody. The Pixel I still feel is a little bit niche because it's awkward looking.
Ah, okay.
Right?
Well, if this clock is correct, yes, you have about a minute.
Got a minute or
about
two
a minute,
left.
right?
1 minute left?
Yeah,
Oh,
literally
we
1
were-
minute.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah,
1 minute left.
literally 1 minute left. So I want to make
Yeah.
sure that I'll do the intro, aside from this. But I just want to make sure to wish you well in your when are we going to see you again? That's what I want to
don't
know.
know. Yeah, I mean, like IFA's the next big one. I mean,
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm going to make it out to New York for the S8 launch.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a bit far.
Because MWC this is why this podcast is so important, is because I get to see you, Michael, Jaime, all these people.
Everyone at once.
Because after MWC, it's like, what, 5 months?
5 months to IFA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could see you guys in between and all that, and that's awesome.
But it might not be all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, because I would love to come out to Taiwan. I would love to come out.
Yeah, I think
and
I think you're doing Computex, maybe, aren't you?
Yeah, it's in the cards.
It's on the
For sure. It's in the
cards.
cards. Now, whether or not I'm
My
going...
hometown.
Whether or not
my
I'm going
hometown,
is
yeah.
different. It's a different story. So...
LA, Taiwan. The flights are direct. Super close.
They are, and they're actually... I think they're fairly cheap, but, that's a story for
beside the
another. That's
point.
beside the point.
All right.
But I think we're getting the call for that. Nicole, I'm so happy that I got to finally
me
get you
too.
on.
And we got to do it in such a nice car.
We really did, and I hope you guys are enjoying this version of the podcast.
Yeah.
I won't be able to show much about the car, much of the car, but just know it's pretty awesome.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. I always love being on.
Yeah, well, thank you. I wouldn't be able to have a podcast without you on it. So at a show, that is. So, all right. Well, thank you again, and follow Nicole, of course, on Mobile Geeks, and also you're going to be on
Nicole_Scooter on
that's the
Twitter.
one.
Yeah.
Share all about what you're doing with Samsung. All right.
All about what I'm doing with the Roadshow. Absolutely.
All right, awesome. I'll go ahead and just do a quick wipe to the outro.
And hashtag MWC17. Is that on the banner? No, it's not on the banner behind us. It's on the other one.
Well, apparently we're talking about the next element.
That's right.
Yes, because the last thing that the press room needs is a little bit more pretension.
Actually, I gotta say, this is my first MWC. Freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
In this media center.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's legit, as opposed to the closet that you get stuck in CES, where there's no resources, no internet, nothing.
We've done the right thing, and we've stayed in this press room. Because have you seen the other two?
No, I haven't been in the other two. No.
They're really depressing.
Oh, that's too bad.
Because they're tightly packed and there's no AC.
Oh yeah, and I can't
Right?
do that.
You were there.
I can't do that.
Those. Yeah. Oh, okay. By the way, Jaime is right over on the side here.
Just right behind me.
We'll get Jaime in another segment. I want to get Jaime, Chris Velasco, and maybe Nick Gray in for the big portion.
Yeah.
I have to get my own segment. That's the way.
You're
it works.
working, bro.
No, he's actually getting all our Pocketnow videos done right now, and I'm just schmoozing because that's what I do.
Is that the Dell, by the way?
Oh yeah, he's got
those bezels are amazing.
Yeah, he's got the one with the Xenon and the Quadro and all that.
I am
fun
in the
stuff.
market for another for a workstation, I should say, but it's got to be 14-inch. It's got to be this size.
Well, getting it's that weird transition. Do I go with another gaming laptop, or do I actually grow up and get the legit real mobile workstation? I'm also looking at a Lenovo too. Some of those custom jobs are actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, their yoga looks pretty awesome actually.
Oh yeah,
which I really enjoy.
Well, have you seen the new ThinkPad tablet?
I have not.
So
actually.
we don't cover like laptops and tablets for Pocketnow, and it makes me sad. So I go over to the stand
because it doesn't fit in your pocket.
and I look at the back, and it's I know it's like their new X1 tablet thing or whatever. And I look at it, it's got like a folding stand, like prop it up just like a yoga tablet would. And like, okay, this is like a cool demo unit, and it feels totally fake. It's so lightweight, it's so clean. And I start moving it around, and the screen starts flipping and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
nice!
I almost dropped it. I was so surprised that it was a real working floor model. It was.
Did you see their let's see, the yoga tablet, not yoga tablets, the Tab 4.
The Tab 4. No, I didn't get hands on
I
that
actually
one.
like those. Okay, I find that the 7-ish inch Android tablet is like a dying art.
Oh, it totally
like we don't
is.
really see it a lot anymore. A tablet that is big enough for you to enjoy what's on it, but then you can also grip it if you really needed to.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so we gave them a lot of credit for that, and it looked really nice.
Oh no, I mean like the idea of being able to have like missing that paperback book size window where you can comfortably hold something in one hand and not have it feel top heavy or lopsided is something that we haven't seen a lot of. That is really disappointing.
Yeah, it is. And everyone, you see the forums and you see like the subreddits and all that. Everyone's just like, bring back the Nexus 7. Like everybody wants that tablet back. And what I loved about Lenovo's presentation with us was like, and I said this in the video, so this is not like controversial or anything. Lenovo, okay, speaking as Lenovo, the representative, we know that the tablet space isn't necessarily booming. That was my favorite part. That was my favorite part. And they're like, but there are some use case scenarios.
It's the kindest understatement euphemism of the tablet market assessment I've ever heard.
I loved it. It was awesome. But yeah, Lenovo doing some good stuff. And, like, what have you been able to see for the show so far?
Yeah, so definitely spent a lot of time on Huawei this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Not having a strong Samsung presence. We did go and play with the Tab S3. It's a nice sort of refresh to the line. I don't know how I'm going to feel about a glass back tablet.
Have you seen their pencils?
Yes, I wanted one. You got one.
But the weird thing was that the swag bag coming from the press event was that and 2 actual pencils, like Staedtler pencils.
How?
Wait. So the others weren't S Pens too?
No, they were.
Oh, then you're done.
So I want to know. I'd love to see the numbers on how many people accidentally try to sharpen an S Pen, not paying attention with the other pencils in the bag.
You just hear this
I
grating
think
noise.
Statistically, it has to be above 0, right?
Yes, definitely.
It can't be very many. But
Law of Samsung averages. Law of Samsung averages.
No, I spent a lot of time at Huawei. I mean,
all we need to know about that, what you just asked, is hashtag S Pen backwards. That's all we need to know.
It's always going to now be a torture test for any future Note. Is can you put the S Pen in backwards?
Exactly.
So I mean, you're wearing a Huawei Watch 2 right now.
I'm like all Huawei'd out right now.
Yeah, we've got our Huawei gear. My P10 is in the bag. You also got a blue one?
I got a blue one.
I went back to the booth to go and get a blue one.
The blue one is definitely. It pops a little bit better on video, and I just kind of like the look. I can't shake the fact that this feels like the iPhone 7 at all.
Right.
And the even right down to the antenna lines.
No, like people in our comments are already like doing that antenna line dance of HTC, Meizu, Oppo. Like everyone's kind of playing the whodunit first game, and anymore it's just if Apple does it, it becomes sort of an Apple iconic aspect of their design.
That's going to remain off camera.
Yeah.
Or
you don't.
off
the
cast.
mystery is, what box did he hold up? You don't know.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
And what's funny is I've ruined my life by having this right here, these little pop sockets.
I need to get one.
This is a perfect size already, and I still need to put a pop socket on it.
But the nice thing
can't
is
use the phone anymore.
But being able to put that on the little clip case that they give you. You
True,
don't have to throw it on the phone itself. I like that.
I am enjoying the P10, though it is hardly exceptional.
No.
It's hardly exceptional.
It was totally an iterative year for Huawei. Nice improvements, and I like seeing them bring Mate 9 tech, because the P9 lacked a lot of stuff that we sort of took for granted in flagship territory.
Also, it feels like just like a month ago that I reviewed that thing.
The P10, P9?
The P9. It doesn't feel that long ago.
I mean, like, the nice thing is we had that little foray into the Honor 8. And I think that's why so many people's expectations are so high is the Honor 8 gave us a P9 at a baller price.
Yeah, true.
And then the Mate 9 came out, was like a nice little step up. And now it kind of feels like we're just staying even because we're just getting the P up to parity.
Yeah, it just depends, like,
mate.
what do you want to say to people? Mate, P, or honor? You know? And then,
But
remember, Huawei and honor are very separate.
Very separate. Perish the thought.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're not pretending like, other company like a OnePlus is like totally separate.
Oh wow, yeah. This is actually pretty true. Telling it like it is at MWC.
It's how we do. It's how we do.
All right, okay. So in the scheme of this podcast, and I don't even know how far we've gone so far. Only 7 minutes. Good.
Yeah.
In the scheme of this podcast, we're doing segments because we actually, for the first time, Jaime, we failed to get the entire group together at once.
Yeah.
Because everyone was just busy. Everyone had stuff going on, and I totally agree. I totally understand that. Despite it being what can only be described as a somewhat slower show, it was still a packed schedule.
This was a full, busy. It was an awesomely run show, but we didn't have those conflicting major company announcements that would have made it hectic.
Yeah.
So it's actually,
100%.
it was a constant clip, but we were able to get this show done.
Yeah,
you know what
definitely.
I mean? Not like.
And this is your first MWC.
This is my
you said.
first MWC.
So how do you feel about? Okay, then this is where I'm going to go with this. Then how do you feel about the organization at large, Barcelona itself?
Having done so many CESs, and for whatever reason, just never having been able to, or having been kind of afraid, to go and tackle an MWC by myself, I am now viscerally angry with myself that I've waited this long. That if I had been at an MWC in a more exciting year. This layout is phenomenal. This is the easiest show to navigate that I've ever been to. And again, you're provided better resources. We have functional Wi-Fi and Ethernet in this press room.
Well, I would asterisk Wi-Fi.
No, I mean, it might get bogged down, but it legit has a data connection that you can access.
Fair enough.
Not in any other conventions or like IFA, where they have this token router that's being powered on by a hamster wheel in the basement of the structure. No, this is far better run than any other show.
And there's a real focus on just sort of taking care of the media here.
Yeah.
Right outside over there, my bottle of Pellegrino actually just disappeared, but
that is first world press problems.
Exactly.
Oh no, someone just cleaned up the half-drank bottle of Pellegrino that I wasn't quite finished
unlimited
with.
Pellegrino over there, and there's
Pellegrino.
cookies always in circulation for some reason.
I might name a band that.
What?
Unlimited Pellegrino.
Circulated cookies. How about that?
I think it'd be a fourth wave ska band. I think. Oh. Yeah.
Constantly circulated cookies. I would do that.
Circulated cookies. You can be my opening act.
Yeah, there you go.
It'd be awesome. It'd be great.
Triple C is coming on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice, and I agree with you. MWC now, while Barcelona itself might, I don't know. I don't feel like. I always feel a little bit outside the general culture of the city.
So I come from an old world Spanish family that I have definitely the same issues. New Mexico, California, there's a Hispanic, Chicano, Latino community that I understand.
Yeah.
And while I get the European vibe out here, I have no ear or the ability to read Catalan. And so my terrible Southwest Spanish, which I very rarely ever break out because I feel like listening to myself, it's offensive to the ear. Yeah. I don't want to offend anyone with what little Spanish I can speak. And Jaime is laughing right now, and he has every right to. So I'm named after the King of Spain. To come out to Barcelona and not already being weak in communication with Spanish, and then having no relationship to Catalan.
Well, I have virtually no ability to communicate with anybody here aside from the very basic words, you know, and sign language in a way,
right?
Just body language, yeah, exactly.
Flashing euro, and then that gets people's attention, and they'll try and help you out.
Exactly. But it is a wonderful city, and I love it every single time, and. I remember coming here and being able to stay here for a couple of days beforehand because of things like HTC frequencies and stuff like that. Of course, that's not really the case anymore,
right?
Which is we're sad about, unfortunately. Just shout out to you guys, HTC.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
I'm actually staying for the weekend after all this is over.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So I mean, I've got the wife, I've got the 1-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
I love this show. I love this town. But I kind of miss my little girl.
Oh, I don't blame you at all. Also, a little bit of trivia. This guy is actually we're actually LA buddies. We live in the same area, basically.
Right.
And we don't hang out nearly as much as we...
And again, and that's totally the LA BS thing, right? If you don't live in my little box.
Because you do live a little far.
I do. Well, you live a little. I live a little far. I'm
the one who lives far.
I'm in the valley too. So, but I'm totally guilty of that BS LA vibe of like, if you're not in my little box of normal commuting, then it gets really easy to not meet up with friends. I have friends down in like Culver City that I maybe see 2 or 3 times a year. And like they're really close personal friends, but that's just the break of Southern California.
Well, we got to make that happen even more.
Absolutely.
What was I going to follow this up with? I just blanked out. The nootropics are not working right now.
Joe Rogan, you got to get on this. Apparently, Alpha Brain, he got a defective batch of Alpha Brain.
Oh,
he's Beta Brain right now.
I'm Beta Brain.
And that ain't cool. That ain't how we do.
I'm like Alpha 0.2. Does that even work?
0.2 alpha?
See, that's how you know it just wore off like right now. But yeah, okay, so we can go back to a little bit of the tech talk.
Absolutely.
So what would you give your MWC crown to then? You know, everyone has a different perspective on this, and I think it's hilarious because we've gotten like the Nokia 3310,
right?
Which a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's the best device of the show, and I'm like, is it really though?
No, see, and that actually kind of makes me angry. Not angry. It makes me a little frustrated how that has hijacked the conversation surrounding some really interesting stories.
Yeah.
Not top tier stories, not Samsung stories, not Apple stories, but an LG that's looking like it's starting to execute a brand identity. And now we need to see what they can follow it up with, how they support their products, if they can get the conversation out to consumers. But this was a good first step.
Yeah.
The G6 is a good first step to LG figuring out what kind of company they want to be.
Well, it's funny because they had lost that identity for like a little while. I mean,
Totally.
I personally really miss the curved display,
Yeah.
the G4. You know?
G2 to G4 was, I think, that sweet spot of LG devices. Boot looping, not, an issue that they need to take care of in terms of reliability.
I love that you mentioned that because, to any listeners or viewers in this case that asked me, no, the LG Watch Sport does not boot loop.
I mean, everything I say about
yours?
I mean, it's the same thing. Anytime I say V20, someone pops out from behind a tree.
It's terrible.
Fruity boot loops. So none of mine have either.
Yeah, none of mine ever. Yeah, exactly.
So I got really
admit,
lucky.
I said this on the previous podcast episode. I actually fried a G5 because I was using a faulty USB-C cable. This is when.
Okay.
Yeah, this was.
So I the only phone
coconut.
The only LG phone that has failed on me. It didn't boot loop, but it did lock and it wouldn't reboot. Was the G5. So out of all of them, that one has proven to be the least reliable for me. I went through 2 of them. But then also, it kind of makes sense because it's the most experimental thing that they've ever done.
Well,
which is just a shame that they couldn't get it firing on all cylinders.
Well, we're definitely getting. I'm in love with the screen on the G6. Absolutely.
It really has taken me by surprise. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did.
Now, here's my question in that case. Do you think that the screen is do you think it's a consolation prize to the risk that LG was taking with modules and everything from before? Because I have this angle right now that the Pixel, there's one right here. Yeah, the Pixel is still the phone of choice for a lot of us here in the industry.
Okay.
And for good reason.
Right.
It is the most reliable. It has a very good touch ratio to like your presses and what happens on the screen. That's something that I've heard a lot of recently, and then only recently now that I'm using the P10 do I actually realize what that meant.
Right.
Because the P10, I'm having trouble actually kind of performing stuff on it because I guess my muscle memory is
you get a feel for how a phone responds to a thing.
Exactly.
Because what's funny is I don't use my Pixel very often, and I'm using it now as my primary phone for Project Fi.
Got it.
So it's my main data line out here. It's kind of what we're
So I was
relying
presumptuous to think that.
No, because I consider myself to be an outlier there.
Okay.
Like I would agree with you that I think more people are in our industry are gravitating towards Pixel. There's much respect for the software updates and everything else there too. But because I don't use it very often, the touch sensitivity actually kind of interrupts me.
Oh.
Where I'm trying to type things out on the keyboard and my thumb might graze in a way.
Oh.
And so I get these like extra characters, or I'm constantly backspacing as I'm sliding my thumb down in a way that I didn't intend to.
I'm a touch typer.
And it's all that muscle memory. It's all that what you're familiar with. Because I normally tag team a V20 and a Mate 9.
Gotcha.
And we can comfortably say those are not the snappiest or the fastest phones on the market right now.
It's true.
But I like the hardware.
Yeah.
You know, I want the camera features. I want the microphones. I want the video from the V20, the stills from the Mate 9. And so that's why I rock those two. And also the headphone jack on that V20 is just so killer.
It is great, but I do miss the HTC 10. Like,
oh, no.
just for its amperage.
Well, no. I think V20 takes it if you will go higher impedance. There is no louder phone on the market than the V20, and
really,
the one that is right with it is the Axon 7.
Okay,
the
fair
amp
enough.
the amp in the V20, if you use higher impedance cans, will blow away an HTC 10.
Okay, maybe
now, if you're just using some sort of stock earbuds,
yeah,
not to belittle that, I just mean like some people are spending stupid amount of money on headphones. If for those of you listening, I was just pointing to myself. That's
you're not talking about what's around your neck right now, right?
and for those of you listening, I have Tone Pros around my neck right now because LG is apparently killing it with some audio gear right now. But that's like those kinds of features. I'm willing to compromise the software experience of the Pixel because the Pixel hardware just hasn't been that inspiring to me. Like,
which brings me to my question. I'm currently working in an angle where the Pixel is the phone of choice for a lot of people, and the job of the phones in 2017 is to convince them to give it up.
Yeah.
So right now it's the Google Pixel versus 2017.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's what I've been asking people so far, and what I'm thinking right now is that what people used to say about the Pixel when it first came out, and it came out late last year, so it's kind of just at the cusp of 2017. Is that it played it safe, especially in terms of design, especially in terms of hardware. It played it safe.
Totally agree.
Are we not seeing LG and Samsung do the same thing, though? They're kind of playing it safe after all of the debacles that they had last year. Modules, blowing up batteries, stuff like that. So, in the case of Samsung, obviously.
I don't know that was an experiment on Samsung's part.
No, it was an experiment. Yeah. But I mean, like, because of what happened last year, I feel like there's this dialing back. But what's interesting to me is that a phone can become exciting again,
right,
by dialing back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. So I completely agree, and I guess that's why I was sort of a little taken aback by the premise of is it the consolation prize? I think there is some experimental stuff going on with the G6. The aspect ratio is going to throw some people when they see pillar boxing for the first time. Like that's something that you see lots of letterboxing. We're totally used to that. Yeah. You have a 16:9 screen.
It looks cinematic almost.
Exactly. No, totally. Yeah. And so pillar boxing is going to throw some people. So little things like that. Is it as big an experiment? No. Okay, but I think for LG it was less about walking something back and reaching parity on a few features. Like this is water resistance, dust resistance isn't something that we've ever gotten in the United States from LG. Yeah. They get it all the time in Japan. I want that V34 something fierce. But this is sort of new for them in this market. And built-in wireless charging, new for them in this market. This new aspect ratio screen, the first company to make it to that. They are still tinkering, but what I really think this was a company that is starting to figure out they really need to have a brand story, a brand identity.
Very true.
And their shotgun approach between G's, Flexes, and V's, and all of their K's, and all of their other series phones, you can't easily sum up what an LG experience is. And their advertising is miserable. Yeah. Like they don't tell their story very well. So I think this was their focus point on that. For Huawei, I'm more inclined to agree. Like this was a play it safe year, an iteration year, and really like let's just touch every little element of it. But there wasn't anything that really broke out from this phone as being radically different or radically better than the P9 was last year.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, and
because it's overall a better device, but
and I'm enjoying using it, and it's something different, which is why I enjoy it. But at the same time, it is hardly exceptional. It's hardly,
except for the camera. I mean, I will put the stills from this new dual sensor Huawei system. If for those of you who really get into your photography, your still photography, the video's still a little shaky for my taste.
Yeah.
But if you really get into your still photography, it doesn't take much. There is a learning curve. It is, you do need to spend some time getting a feel for it. But the quality of light, the quality of contrast, the quality of detail that I get out of these cameras really puts most of the competition to shame.
Well, it makes perfect sense to put an extra sensor there to bolster the first one, And then,
absolutely.
And I think Huawei did a great job with that. I remember the P8. Yeah. When I first used that, I was like, wow, this is actually kind of surprisingly good.
Yeah.
So now they're just further perfection of the system. But yeah, I mean, that was just sort of my thought here, and not to say that I don't enjoy the G6. By all means, I really, really love that phone already.
Right.
Even though Nicole, who you're going to see later in the video, already mentioned to me, I didn't see that little the angular line in the very corners.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
You can't unsee it now, can you?
I can't unsee it.
You're staring at it the whole time.
Oh my God!
So the only thing I can kind of walk away from that is like maybe it's the Battlestar Galactica phone. Maybe
nice.
Just in the future they cut all the everything's octagonal.
I mean, Lord knows. I mean, we could go that way, and you know what? Nostalgia again.
Yeah, so say we all.
Yeah, so say we all. Oh man, did we talked about Battlestar on the show one time?
I don't remember if we did, but I got into.
Were you new season or old school?
Well, I mean, I like both. I just think that the last half of a season of Battlestar Galactica, the show jumps the tracks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I had a drunken conversation with Mr. Mobile about how I don't
really
like.
Just gonna keep calling him that?
I don't like. Well, I mean, I'm calling him by what he goes by.
The Mr. Mobile.
The Mr. Hashtag. No, yeah. No, that we had a nice drunken conversation with our differing opinions on what we thought about the end of that show. So that was a fun debate.
You when are you out, by the way? You're out tomorrow.
No,
right?
I fly out tomorrow morning.
You fly out tomorrow morning?
I'm not even going to finish the show.
Am I going to see you tonight? Are we going to have a good time? I
hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to get a lot of work done.
I have 2 tiny little videos to finish editing, and then I'm actually wrapped. That's the show's over for me.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll be working on this tomorrow. I will probably be casting with Jaime and Chris Velasco. I believe.
Right on.
So the continuity of these segments is going to be so hilarious. But yeah, well, thank you for talking. I wanted to make sure to get you on, and we definitely do have to hang out in LA more often.
Definitely.
And yeah,
I foresee some sort of Pocket Authority or Android Now ground.
By the way, is that
West Coast?
Does anyone have that domain yet? Android Now?
Ooh, snap! Someone just bought it.
Do you know, Jaime? Does anybody have the domain Android Now? I've never heard.
I feel like an investigation is in order.
Okay,
but I definitely feel like maybe like a Santa Monica collaboration beach something.
Yeah.
Cool.
How far is Santa Monica from where you are?
Oh, I mean, it depends on traffic, like anything else.
Okay.
Like it's about in 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, good.
Like that.
Thank God, because I'm not driving any more than you have to. Okay. I'm just saying. You're like, yeah, let's meet in San Fernando.
No, I was saying like purposely, like I will leave my little sphere of comfort in the valley,
Yeah.
Tarzana, and then I will meet up with you, and I think we can maybe look at something pretty killer.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. As I always do, my guests are always, I try to give them the special treatment. What kind of transition do you think we should do to the next segment? I don't even know who's going to be the next segment.
So the person coming on next is a personal hero of mine, and I just feel, I just feel like the wisdom, the experience, the inspiration, the audience is in for a treat.
Okay.
For who's coming up next.
I like that. All right. Now, Star Wars wipe. There's no such thing as a segment starter or an intro or anything with this podcast, because I told you the plan with this one, right? No. Okay. It is basically, and I'm peeking. Is that you or me? That would be me. You, on the other hand, need to turn your mic on.
How's this?
That's a lot better.
Good.
So that was my fault. That should have been on. Yeah, because I wasn't able to get our typical group together for all these podcasts for like one huge grand podcast, I'm now at the point of like just having 20-minute segments with everybody and stitching it all together. So You are the third segment overall, but it's not necessarily going to be in that order.
Okay.
So Nicole,
you're going to air these out of sequence.
Yes.
Okay.
More than likely. You're more than likely going to start it.
Yay.
And Nicole is likely going to end it because of the locale of our podcast. She was so in a rush to get out.
Yeah.
Because,
Where'd you do it, in a hallway or something like that?
We did it in a Mercedes E-Class.
Oh, that's awesome, though. Yes.
The weirdest shot because it's just on the dash.
Yeah.
And it's at its widest angle, so we both look like a little bit warped by the lens.
Yeah, because you're right at the edges of the lens distortion. Yeah.
And I was wearing my suit jacket that everybody seems to love so much.
It's a great jacket.
I said that sarcastically. And
It is a great jacket. Don't let him fool you.
I know that I look good in that thing, but I understand where everyone's coming from when they say it's very out of character for me to dress that way.
I've been wearing vests all show. It's fine.
The thing is, I've seen you wear vests. I don't see what the problem is there.
Yeah, well, you at least look like you're from this century.
It was funny because I think it was Chris Carlin on the team that was like, yeah, because you're Mr. like yellow Onitsuka Tigers, flat bill cap, freaking spectacle wearing Mr. LA.
Ah, yes.
So-
But you've been growing up now.
That's the term I've been hearing a lot.
Yeah, now
Josh is
you're
growing
an
up.
adult and stuff. Yeah. And I'm not ashamed to tell you that you're one of your colleagues and one of my former colleagues. I will just say your colleague Nirav, my former colleague Jaime Rivera, have both exerted unconscious pressure on me over the course of many trade shows to up my clothing game. So you can't tell anyone who's watching, because I have been unscheduledly. That's a word. Stuck here an extra day, and I'm wearing the last of my clothes.
I'm going to jump into that in just a second, but I
Okay.
will say one thing. Good old Jessica Dolcourt
Yes.
from CNET. One of my favorite things that she ever said about me that I wanted to actually exude during this show was she was like, this is the most versatile person I've ever met in terms of style.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no doubt.
Hair this way, hair that way, hat, glasses, like jeans, good shoes, bad shoes,
Yeah, it's like you're a walking continuity error in film. It's like, because
I love that.
Yeah, like 2 days ago, you walked by me in the hallway. I was like, Josh's hair is ridiculously long, and it's all over like to one side, and it's sort of doing this flowy thing, and it looked really good. Right now, your hair looks 4 inches shorter.
Yeah, it's backwards. Yeah, exactly.
It's like you came back after 4 months. They were like, we need to do some reshoots. Get Vergara back here.
I know, right? All right, so we are the circumstances behind this particular segment of the podcast are probably one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
Not because of your plight, but because in a way, it meant that you and I could hang out.
I know.
I got to see you. We got to do this, sure. But really, it's this that matters more.
I completely agree. And you're a gem for putting up with me, by the way. I'm impossible to book because I'm always like, I'm busy. We're doing dinner or something.
Oh, no. We're like, I understand completely. And the best thing that I can do is just hit you up on whatever the case may be, like Messenger or WhatsApp became a thing during this trip. And right?
No.
WeChat, like WeChat locked me out this week because I had Spanish numbers for an American account. So they actually locked my account.
So you triggered like a spam warning?
Something like that, yeah.
Like you're trying to be JV. You're trying to be fake JV. Do you have a fake Joshua Vergara who tries to who emails companies to try to get review samples?
No, but I had a fake Joshua Vergara trying to be me on Facebook.
Nice.
And and
did you get verified to
I did not
avoid
get
it?
verified, but I got
Yeah.
that account taken
Banned?
down. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I don't know about banned in terms of like that IP or anything like that, but yeah, that account doesn't exist anymore.
Good.
Yeah. It was really creepy too because that person right click saved image as on all of the thumbnails for the locked photos that I have on Facebook. So every photo of me he used was low resolution.
Oh, that is creepy.
It's
yeah,
super
when
creepy.
a bot account yeah. I've seen my impersonator goes around spewing like a really badly translated version of my Mr. Mobile intro video as an email pitch to get free shit from people. So he's just like, hi, I'm Michael. I'm a sailor and actor and technology producer who on the YouTube has many million views.
Wow.
I'm going to try your product. Send to me. And 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 then he has an email signature that looks like it's from 2006. It has giant oversized versions of the Facebook and Twitter logos in there, like iOS,
It's underscored, italic, and bold.
Yeah. And some of it's been pasted and some of it hasn't. So it's purple, bold, and then the kerning is all up. Anyway, impersonators are the worst.
Well, speaking of the circumstances of us being able to do this, I'm sorry you missed your flight. I mean, am I allowed to say that on the cast? Can I say that?
You're allowed to say that on the cast. Thank you. I don't want to talk about it
That's
much.
fine. It's fine.
But all I will say is that it is no one's fault but my own.
Oh, well, fair enough. But now you get to be in this hotel room. We get to do the cast. And after this, I mean, we'll get to, spend a little bit of time.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Imbibe.
as I'm sure, especially after missing your flight, you're probably ready to not talk about Barcelona anymore.
No. Let's totally do it. I want to put it to bed.
Okay,
I want to bundle it up.
Well, I want to know how your time has been, first of all. I want to know what you have gotten up to, whether it's the show, whether it's the devices you like or didn't like, or the thing on your wrist right now, which I don't really like very much. But
That's weird to hear you say. So stylish.
well, also just sort of if you got up to anything, because I think it was last year that you were in a different position in our industry, so
Yeah.
you've had a bit of a shift over the last year.
Yeah, totally. Last year to the day, I think, is when I was flying back to the States from MWC 16, and I sort of told the internet that I was taking off, was leaving from Pocketnow and doing something different. Yes. And that was a huge day, and that was it was transformational and all this kind of stuff. And Facebook keeps reminding me, like it does, where you wake up every day and it's like, we care about you and the memories you share here. Here's a photo of you leaving your old job.
And then some random, like, from 8 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it 8 years ago? I don't want to see that.
Also, you ate cheddar cheese popcorn for some reason in 2007 on this day. But so this year, this was not my first trade show as Mr. Mobile. That was IFA. Yeah. So this is sort of trying to perfect the flow that has sort of started there. And it is incredibly different because you and my old colleagues and stuff, and I think this still holds true because you appear to be, though you look very nice, you're right at the end of a trade show. You've got that exhaustion setting in, and I think a lot of it is from is from high volume, right? You have so much to cover all the time. And I think my favorite thing about my new format is that I can pick and choose, and I don't necessarily have to hit every little thing, but I also, on the flip side, miss the sort of frenetic satisfaction of that.
Well, the thing is, the frenetic energy works really well for like 2 days.
Yeah. And then afterwards, your hair starts falling out.
I wish we could have both, honestly.
Yeah.
I would love to be in your position to be able to just like, not only do you get to sort of not piecemeal, that's not that, you can actually choose the things that you really want to cover.
Curate.
Thank you. You also are able to curate the way that you present them. In the sense that you can have a video where you give the majority opinion and the majority reaction. Totally. Rather than a spec runoff.
Right. And you can sort of catch your breath between them. Whereas I think when I'm doing, when I used to be doing 6 videos a day or something, I'd get to the end of whatever the hell I was putting together and I'd be like, this is this. It does these things on paper, supposedly. It sort of feels like this. It's kind of hot garbage. I don't know. No, maybe it's great. It's beautiful. I'm not sure. This is Barcelona. I'm Mr. MWC. Good. I don't know anymore.
Did you have a different moniker to use during this show?
No. Okay. No, I didn't. No, I
was about to say.
I would just get words all messed up.
Because for us, it's like we're your source for all things MWC.
That's
it's a little bit different, yeah.
No, there was a word that I couldn't say, though. I was doing multiple takes of this script. I kept trying to say blockbuster, and it kept coming out blockbluster. I have like 4 or 8, I don't know, ruined takes. I mean, it's a PR blockbuster.
Well, my role has not necessarily changed a whole lot, too, if we're talking about morphing roles, but I've definitely gotten more into sort of the content strategy portion of things rather than actually being the person who gets to touch the stuff, So Lon was able to go to Korea and play with the G6.
Yes.
He got the KEYone at CES and then again here. John V was able to take care of the Sony out in New York. And me, I got the Joni.
No way! You shot that thing?
I saw the Joni. Yeah,
the Joni with the. Can you please tell me? How do you put this phone into words? And did you get the special message from it?
I don't think I got the special message from it.
Okay.
What I did get was the most aggressive beauty mode I've ever seen in my life.
In the front-facing camera?
For that 20-megapixel front-facing camera? Holy hell.
Is it 20-megapixel front-facing camera?
For the Plus, yeah.
There's a Plus? Is the Plus... Hold up. Are we talking about the one with the 7,000 milliamp-hour battery?
It's not that much.
Okay, that's the one I played with.
Okay.
I didn't know they did some flagships.
They did a couple flagships, A1 and A1 Plus.
So I walked through the Xiaomi booth, not Xiaomi,
I have that problem too.
Yeah. I walked through that booth looking for the 7,000 milliampere phone, and on my way, I must have passed about 8 different iPhone clones. Was this one of those?
Yeah, this is kind of one of those.
Okay.
Yeah. They kind of had, it was just like a metal phone with a random logo on the back, and there was a page telling you what it can do. So all of its funny features, and one of them was like the beautify mode. The other one was the ultra fast 18-watt charging.
Oh yeah, and they're not the only ones who came out with something like that though. Meizu,
yeah,
as well.
55
watt?
Yeah.
I don't know. It has all the stuff in the wall wart.
Yeah, I don't
like
even
the Oppo quick charge and stuff.
The old VOOC, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
VOOC, that's what it was.
Yeah, the old VOOC charging. Yeah.
Apparently, that technology charges a 3,000 milliamp hour battery pack in 20 minutes from flat to full.
How does anybody not get scared about that?
I think a lot of people are. But we were talking. I was hearing about it, and I heard people were saying like, yeah, it gets really hot, and then somebody else was like, no, that's not the case at all. It doesn't get above 102 degrees or something like that. And I'm like, well,
that's a fever.
I mean, yeah. This is not the year to be. I feel like it's not necessarily the year to be doing anything with regard to battery, except look how many safety checks we put in this.
Right? Exactly. Look how much space there isn't between the battery and everything else, or is hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got. It was funny because we have some people in the YouTube comments that are asking every now and then. It's like, what happened to Josh? How come we don't see him a whole lot? And then all of a sudden, this Joni video comes out. The people think I'm on probation or something.
Isn't it funny when the commenters make up a story, like they make up a narrative where it's like, I heard he insulted someone higher up, and now he's on the outs now. They barely let him do it.
I want to set the record straight. The number one role that I've had this entire show is social. So
really?
Everything that they've seen on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff was those were all my brainchildren, and I was trying to make sure that our social is becoming a huge part of our content strategy.
Nice, that's smart.
Yeah. So
social's great. Did you do a lot of Snapchat stuff?
Actually, no. We had thought of leaving the Snapchat stuff to Edgar. But Snapchat is such a finicky thing on Android.
Yeah, it
is. We have that problem. I even brought specs. I see your specs case over there.
Yes.
I even brought specs, but I realized I'm not going to want to use them a whole lot because extracting that footage is a bit of a chore.
It's a pain.
Yeah.
So, when you're using spectacles and you have to do that Wi-Fi transfer, and it takes forever, even over Wi-Fi, to grab all the clips. And my problem is we all got like a bunch of new phones this trip. So hopping back and forth between different devices, it's one thing to like repair an Android Wear watch. I know how to do that. With spectacles, you have to like press and hold the button for 50 seconds, no more, no less. You have to set a timer because if you miss the 50-second window of lifting it off, you have to start all over again. And then they have to pair, and then
well, speaking of, you just said about that Huawei Watch 2.
That Huawei Watch 2.
Yes.
You ever seen anything so stylish?
Not really. Okay, I'm not going to say
that
that
Rite Aid on the way over here.
I said this in my video that it's the strap that really makes me not like that watch. Like it just feels like not $349.
Word up.
Yeah.
The strap is what gave me the impression of a drugstore Timex, which I called it in my hands-on.
I did say Timex too, yeah.
Yeah. And then you combine it with like how you like that ultra thickness. I think that's an interesting look.
I had this. Do you have the LG Watch Sport on you here?
No.
It's actually not that much. It's like just about the same.
But isn't it weird? The LG Watch Sport in a vacuum, I think, is not an attractive watch. I think it's oversized and kind of gross robot. But next to this, it looks like a supermodel to me.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah. I want to say, I wanted to say in the hands-on video, but I also want to say in the review that watch made me love our other Android Wear 2.0 watches.
Yes.
And, that's a cool thing, I guess.
Do you know what? And I have to be honest, I do feel bad kind of dumping on this watch so much. Because this watch, listen, we don't have the Classic, which is arguably the better looking one, which still looks like an LG watch Urbane.
Urbane, yeah.
But here's the problem. Huawei set itself up, I think, for failure here by creating arguably the best looking first generation Android Wear watch. Right?
Everyone's saying that, yeah. I agree.
And, obviously that design partnership did not extend to this device. And the upsides of this are that the screen is bright and awesomely OLED and stuff. And it runs Android Wear 2.0 really well. but it's an expensive missed opportunity on every other.
You know how I
metric.
feel about taps and swipes. Like I like no rotating crown, no rotating dial. Like it's just
unbelievable.
yeah.
Very, very surprising.
And
from a company that doesn't do a lot of missteps anymore.
I'm gonna let people. I might cut this little part out. We'll see.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I'm gonna make a decision.
for
I'm
it.
gonna make a game time decision at some point about whether or not I should be saying this on the podcast. But so when you got that, was it in demo mode?
yes, indeed, it was.
It was.
Yes, yes.
Mine was too.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out how to freaking get it.
Nobody could.
Yeah.
In fact, if this stays in, then he deserves some credit.
He really does.
Basil, Basil, aka B Tech,
Yes.
BTEKT.
God bless him. Did he film that video here? It
He
looks
shot
like it, right?
And I think he uploaded it. He sent me a link because we actually he discovered the problem right before I did, and we asked about it, and they couldn't help us with it. So he sent me a link, and he's the only reason I figured out. Well, and then the Android Central guys actually did the implementation. I should give them credit too because I didn't do it. I came home and they had fixed mine.
Because I just remembered picking up that watch, and I was just like, all right, let's see what this is. Alice Yang? Yeah. I'm so sick of her.
Oh, and Alex and I are going to go to dinner.
Again?
Yeah.
Every day with you two.
Yeah, and I will give them all kinds of slack for that because
Yeah. It's
we
fine.
literally picked up these review devices. We were there waiting for the guy to show up, and he was very, very patient with all of us.
Well, okay, the watch aside, like criticisms aside, the watch itself is a showcase for 2.0. So,
Yeah.
The only thing is, there's just a couple of quirks to it that we are going to be very upfront about. That's
Yeah.
what we do for a living.
Yep.
On the other hand, our lovely Huawei kind of hooked it up at their press event with a P10.
Yes.
They're the only company that announces something and then it's in your hands like 2 minutes after.
Yeah, and I've privately been wondering when that trend is going to stop because I
agree.
feel like that's something that every big company does when they decide to hit up Android in a big way. They're like, we need to get media there. We need to fill these seats. So let's give away an F ton of devices.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the Note 2 dropped?
That was right after that.
Oh, okay. When the Note 2 came on the scene, Samsung was in such a giveaway mode that I was being contacted by two separate PR agencies working simultaneously for Samsung, and across Pocketnow we had something like 5 devices.
Nice.
And at the time, Pocketnow was considerably smaller. So it was just, I can't imagine what the bigger like everyone was just swimming in Note 2s. And then, very rapidly over a couple generations, they were like, okay, we've gotten that media attention now from just artificially inflating the coverage of all these devices. And then they locked it down, and getting a Samsung review device was suddenly like, just hundreds of bloggers angrily tweeting. Why are you ignoring me?
Well, good old Gary Sims over at everyone's good old to me on this podcast. Apparently.
Good old.
Yeah, good old.
Yes.
So Gary Sims, who was with us during the show, I think you met him for a little bit.
Is he the guy who teaches me things?
Yes.
Yes. He's the greatest.
Mr. Gary Explains.
Yes.
He was saying he came here and he was super excited to be here for any trade show, really. And this is his first one, and he was like, swag. Like the word swag was in his vocabulary every day. And he wants swag. He wants stuff from places, whatever, showstoppers,
Sure.
Pepcom, all the things. Sure. He was slowly getting deflated, like not getting anything, and then the Huawei event happened.
Oh, yay.
And he was like, I have a P10, and he was so happy about it.
Good.
I have it in my pocket. Oh, I had it in my pocket. It's in the jacket. And also on it is your old friend, the pop socket. But
Oh, jeez. You put that alien pseudopod on there? Oh.
yeah, I can't. You know what? After using it for as long as I have, I just can't use a phone without it. Like it's hard for me not
God,
to.
you and Kevin need to go bowling. Crackberry Kevin takes this beautiful BlackBerry Mercury, a.k.a. Blackberry KEYone review device, and just... What do you call it? When it's the opposite of sanctifying something. When you desecrate something. There we go. Yeah, he just desecrated it with a style ring, a Crackberry style ring on the back. And it's like,
I see. I would say the ring is not the one I would want. Definitely the pop socket because it's easier to take off.
They're equally sacrilegious.
All the right words in a place like Barcelona too.
Indeed.
So the P10, like if anything, the one thing that I can't shake about this phone, by the way, we're just gonna go for half an hour. I don't even care.
Great.
The one thing that I can't shake about this phone is its iPhone 7-ness.
Especially the Plus.
Well, I haven't played with the Plus as much yet.
Yeah.
But the regular one, because I used that iPhone 6S for a while, and then the 7 is a little bit similar to it.
Yeah.
I just can't shake that feeling when I'm holding it. That this like, hey, iPhone, and I hate taking that stance, but because normally when I use a phone and people are claiming that it has an iPhone-esque way about it, I'm like, yeah, but you guys are kind of reading into it. This one, I felt it, and I was a little bit miffed.
Can I run a little psychological analysis on you?
Sure.
Very quick. It'll take one question. What color is it?
Blue.
It's even with the blue one?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me you had a black or a silver one. I was going to be like, okay, I get that.
I was looking at the front. Well, the front
is
is black, so it's.
Oh, the front is black. Yeah. But when you flip it over and you like run your fingers over the back plate and it goes zika,
and it's beautiful.
It's got that hyper diamond cut. I think that to me makes it makes it stand out in the camera window and
I mean just the feel in the front, like
but on the up front,
the smooth sides and the rounded sides, it just feels a little bit too, and then the antenna lines, I'm reading into it too far at that point. But,
oh, indeed, I get. I think I was too busy being simultaneously very pleased at the color selection.
After like the half hour of them telling us why green is good.
That Pantone.
Oh, God.
That Pantone discussion for 10 minutes of like, green, it really transports you to another dimension.
Green occurs naturally in nature.
No. Yes. It reminds you to take a deeper breath when you see it.
And my favorite part, and if you thought green was great, wait until we tell you about blue. I was sitting next to one of my all-time heroes on YouTube, Kaiman Wong from formerly Digital Rev TV.
Yes.
I was sitting next to him and I couldn't say anything to him. I didn't say hi or anything because he was working, you know. And I'm just sitting there and I'm sure he overheard me. I was like, "Kill me! I can't take this."
He was in a photo taking class that I attended at Huawei's invitation. With noted, I have 2 podcasts in a row. I'm going to do this. Manfred Baumann. Yes, nailed it. Sorry, the first time around, we had to scramble for 5 minutes to look up look up Mr. Baumann's name. And your YouTube hero Kai was also in the class, and I'm an idiot for not introducing myself. But we were.
I got as far as saying hi to him at the Samsung booth.
Yeah,
and then I had to take a picture of Narev.
No,
so I turn around, I take the picture, and then I turn around and Kai's gone. I was so mad.
Darted. Yeah. He was getting some spectacular photos with the P10, and that's the thing. I posted those photos in the hands-on, and I was like, these were taken in ideal lighting, literally with a professional celebrity photographer standing over my shoulder. Nice. You should not expect these results in your home, but that camera, between all its shooting modes and stuff, it's like the Mate 9. It's really good.
It's really good, right? There's the case being made for that dual camera, dual lens system, or dual sensor system, if you want to call it that too. Yeah. Getting the depth information and being able to add the details back in.
But and I know you want to go someplace else, but can we talk about dual lenses on the other phone?
Yes, of course. Which is kind of where I was going to go.
Oh yes,
yeah. I was kind of going to go there because I wanted, for the sake of pacing of this section of the podcast, which again I'm actually open to just bleeding over. I don't care anymore.
This is fun.
I'm glad you think so. I wanted to talk about, of course, the other phones that we ran into, and of course the G6 is going to be. I do have one on me. So I was like, you know what? Fine.
I had one on me. It's over there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
What color did you get?
I got the black one.
Okay.
Which a lot of people think is dead sexy, and I agree.
I agree.
What color did you get?
I got white.
with the gold accents?
I don't know. Actually, you know what? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Oh. But I just know that the person who gave it to me had made the big point of saying, you are getting special treatment right now because that phone is not coming out in the U.S.
Yeah, I know of only one other person who got that device.
Okay.
And it does have gold accents.
It does. Okay. Yes. I guess it just hasn't registered in my head.
And can I tell you that I don't like either of those colors nearly as much as that platinum.
It does look pretty good.
Dope.
Yeah, it does look pretty good. I think Lon has that right now.
Oh my god, yeah, Alex has. Everyone else seems to have the platinum one, and a couple people have been like, "You want to trade?" And I'm like, "Yes, I desperately want to trade," but but it hasn't happened, so that's okay. But I thought it was metal at first. I knew what it was. I knew we all got the same briefing.
Well, we spent so much time just on the back of the phone. Once I got here to Barcelona, just
Yeah.
trying to hit the back.
Yeah, because you're just like, oh, is that plastic? No, it's glass, but it looks like metal. But it does. They did such a good job on the brushed stuff underneath the glass. I think that platinum one is so gorgeous.
I guess I got accustomed to the V20. I love the matted, real metal feel.
Yeah, that military equipment look.
Almost, yeah. And this is one thing that I'm almost just a tiny bit disappointed about that I didn't have. But really, that's me picking nits at this point because my experience with the phone has been just nothing short of amazing.
Yeah, it's been really quite good.
Yeah.
And I think that probably, I'm just speculating, but I think they probably wanted to distance themselves from the G5's industrial design, which did have that matte primer and paint coating on top of metal that made it feel like plastic.
Everyone talked about,
Yeah, because it got beat up so easily.
True.
Ugh. I did a G5 re-review right before we got here, and I was like, I hope that. Well, I'm just going to hold this as long as possible because, LG's just going to not let me in. They're gonna we saw what you said about our old phone. But in fact, what I found was that in revisiting it, the G5 was not the absolute dumpster fire that a lot of people recall.
Well, it had the unfortunate circumstance of then a lot of other phones coming out after it that just sort of...
That did its design concept better.
Yeah, and it kind of stomped on every concept.
Yeah,
you have the LG G5, and then you have the Moto Z coming out, just wholly bashing on. You have the S7 coming out that just kind of, the S7 was sort of a piece of art.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the thing, and I think with the G6, LG sort of comes back to this. It's so pretty to hold.
Yeah,
and even the soft, the rounded corners on the display. If there are tiny little things that we can talk about, that is my favorite thing. You don't like it.
Nicole said it, and then when I looked at the phone after she said, I was like, I can't not see that. That little bit of
just a little
little divot.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
The fact that they're not perfectly rounded.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
I am not OCD by any means, but seeing that, I guess for me it was damn it, she was right.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. I know there is that little bit, right?
Yeah.
But can we talk about the camera?
Absolutely.
Right before, so I was going out to the pharmacy. What's nice about podcasts is that they're not, they're audio or visual, and that's about where they stop, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of smell sensors. So I was going out to the pharmacy to get some mouthwash.
Fair.
Who's using this mic next?
That's a good question.
Josh rolled up on me before I could do that. And
I'm just gonna go say Chris Velasco, and then
good. He didn't come out to dinner last night. Good.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, but I was stalling, and I didn't get there because I was using the G6 to film some of the lights in the fountain outside this hotel.
Nice.
And first of all, I'm really glad that brought water resistance to it. Second of all, how about that camera and its wide-angle lens, which is the same wide-angle lens as last year almost, but with a sensor behind it that you really want to use this year.
Yeah,
it's the
absolutely.
same damn sensor.
Yeah. And you could be able to crop in whenever you want. It just feels a little bit better that way.
Yeah.
But still, I hope that we see a trend on whether it's Instagram or Facebook or whatever the case may be, of people going wide angle and then turning it around. And then hitting the volume button
for a
selfie,
main camera selfie.
Exactly,
yeah.
Because you have your whole arm in there, and it's all very it's a very stylistic photo.
Very.
I remember doing that with the G5, and that was the number one thing I did with that camera.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of my photos on IG and on Facebook were like that, and I can see people making that.
People
a thing.
say you're self-involved. I don't get it. I'm
coming in with a suit jacket. And
just kidding. No one says that. Yeah, no, I think that's a good use.
And you know what? You never have to even worry about getting people in the shot because everyone's going to be in the shot. That guy way in the mountain's going to be in the shot.
Yeah, right. And often the side of your damn finger is going to be in the shot, which is crazy. Somebody mentioned that to me on Twitter today when I was posting widescreen G6. He's like, your finger, be careful, watch out for your finger. I'm like, yeah, totally. How did you know? He's like, I have the G5. I'm like, oh, yeah. But you know what I love about it is that, the widescreen applications are really obvious for landscape shit and whatever. But using it when it's not immediately obvious to use it, I'm on an airplane and I want to take a shot of my airplane meal because LOL.
Because why?
Yeah. I send it to my girlfriend sometimes. I'm like, check this out, Lufthansa. This podcast brought to you by Lufthansa. Flag carrier of the Germans and the best damn airline I've ever flown. They have great food, and I often send pictures of it. But with the widescreen, aspect, it's it just adds this needlessly dramatic perspective to really pedestrian stuff. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, the video is by far. And first of all, has there been some sort of I might just feel it personally, or maybe I didn't look at the settings well enough to see if it was any different. But has its stabilization got better in some ways?
It depends on the lens you're using.
I was using wide.
Well, then no, I don't think so because
Okay,
it doesn't
maybe
have
it was
OIS
just
on the
me.
wide.
Yeah, it was just me then.
Yeah,
Okay, it was just me.
No, you're just smooth now.
I try.
you just all like
clenching
Hi,
everything.
how you doing? Just doing a slow pan. Don't worry, keep drinking your coffee. I'm Josh, by the way.
This old guy's just like
Yeah,
sip.
like that. You visualized an old dude in that shot,
I didn't want to
Yeah.
be creepy.
right? Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I do love.
There's a squirrel.
I do love that. I've always loved the dual camera setup on there. My only gripe with it is that, man, just think about the premium flagship quality you could have given this phone if you had dual lenses on the front too. You know, I know I'm asking for too much, but
Oh, that would have been something.
Yeah.
because they did that with the V10 and then the 20. Mm-hmm. They both of them have it. One of them
V20,
has it.
not the V20.
The V10 has the dual
The V20
fronts.
did it. Yeah, that was where
Yeah.
the first dual camera system for them came, and then they
Was
moved
on the front,
it to the
and then they
back.
moved it around to the back. You're right. Yeah. That would have been cool.
The consolation prize in this case would have been like 13 megapixel front-facing camera when using normal, and then 8 when wide, or the other way around rather. You can crop in the sensor.
Yeah.
you know, something like that. It's just like the one that they're using now. Like the crop is just too. It cuts the quality like in half.
For the selfie
Yeah,
shooter?
for the selfie shooter.
Admittedly, I haven't played with a selfie shooter as much, but we've just been had the best weather here and some of the best settings, and it's just so tough to take a bad photo.
Yeah.
With these cameras here, so it'll be nice to get it back to Boston and plug it into my
Or
usual.
where nothing's
Where
picturesque.
Nothing's pretty. Well, not this time of year. It's not.
Okay, so another part that I might cut from here because this is more of a personal conversation between us. I saw Manchester by the Sea.
Oh God, I've consciously avoided it. How are you still here and not still crying?
It is a very sad film, but the reason why I loved it was because I felt like I got to know you a little bit better.
Oh, really? Oh man.
Is that really how they are in Boston?
I don't,
Massachusetts, rather?
I don't know. All I can tell you is that I've heard that movie will just punch you in the heart and leave you for dead.
It does. It does punch you in the heart, and then it disappears.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is the best way I can describe what that ending was like.
Oh.
But I just like seeing how they interact with each other in that movie. I was just like, is this what Michael really is like?
No. I'm the nicest dude in Boston. How you doing? But that's funny you mentioned that because one of the many times you and I did not hang out this trip, I ended up in a bar with some associates of mine from a PR company, and we had a beer or two, and we started talking about dialects, and it's about 3 a.m, and so at some point I found out that another one of these guys was from Boston, and he and I just started just needlessly, senselessly shouting at each other in the worst Boston accent you've
I
ever
have
heard.
seen you do that before.
I know.
yes,
It
and
seems to be a
freaking
thing.
hilarious.
I should probably do that less.
No, you're good. I just, oh man, yeah, I just was watching because my folks were watching the movie, and I was just sort of like next to them, and I was just like eating dinner, and then I saw the first like 30 minutes eating my dinner, and then when I was done with my dinner, I found myself still sitting there. I was just like, this is so intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Like that's his wife, and he's talking to her like with the filthiest mouth. I'm just like, is that how they show affection in Boston?
Welcome to back in Boston, kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was great, but anyway, back to our tech talk. Okay, so moving from that, 18:9. Like,
I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
But the fact that the screen takes up so much of the body.
I should clarify. I don't care about the aspect ratio itself.
Okay, the screen.
I don't
but
care.
The
The
screen
2-to-1
is
stuff
great.
is like, or whatever.
Yeah.
They do that, like, you can stack squares and look at how we've done. I'm like, you guys have made a UI that's not completely ugly. That's
Yeah.
what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about squares.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's a tall, narrow display makes so much sense. And this is one of the few software skins that gives you the opportunity to trigger the notification shade using an action down low, so you don't need to reach to the top of it. And the combination of that thing makes it so much more usable.
I just love that it's a Note 7. It's almost like what the Note 7 did, where it's because of its curves.
Oh, yeah.
It took a very large screen and made it palpable. Not
Totally.
palpable. It made it easy to handle.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is what the G5 does, and I'm blown away by it.
G6.
Six.
I kept doing that too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
G6. That's what the G6 does, and I freaking love it. You know?
Yep.
So that would be my biggest draw. The front looks better than the back. That's just sort of my thought, though.
Really?
I'd say that to me.
Well, actually, no, you're right. The camera and fingerprint sensor still does look like this confused robot. Just wondering why it doesn't have a mouth.
I agree with you there. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And also, I'm sad that it's over now, but I'm sad that we still don't have rear-mounted volume keys. I think that was fun.
Yeah.
I liked those, and I'm sad.
I just hope one day LG is going to be like, we know what you want. And then they give us this phone with back keys. It's curved. I can't wait for it.
Yes.
I really hope. Speaking of throwing it back.
Oh, yeah.
Here's how I'm going to segue into our next segment. What are going to be your top 5 shortcuts on the KEYone keyboard?
Yes. This is all I've been thinking about. I'll give you the top 3. Okay. I'm going to have...
Three's good.
Yeah, I'm going to have T for Twitter. I'm going to have F for Facebook. And I think I'm going to give the hub another try. It's not going to work out.
You didn't like the hub? I love the hub.
I love the concept of the hub.
Okay.
The execution has never been where I wanted it to be. It's always been too slow for me. But H, I'll do a long press on H for hub. Addendum. And then I want to ask you the same question. I want more than the shortcuts to work, because the shortcuts are great. I want a bug that's been there since the Priv launch to be fixed.
Which is?
You know, when you, instead of using shortcuts, how you can just start typing from the home screen, like you could on WebOS, and it worked really well. It has always been broken on Blackberries running Android. Either your first key press is not registered, so if you look for Joshua, it'll be like Oshua.
Okay.
Or it'll mix them up so bad that it'll be like OJSHJUA.
I think it's because the OS is trying to figure out if you're about to long press that thing, and it also has to trigger whatever keyboard.
Totally.
Yeah.
But and I do not profess to be able to solve this problem. I am not a coder, but I was able to. I sort of held one of the BlackBerry guys hostage at the launch event, and he was very courteous and very gracious as I was like, "Can I tell you about this little bug?" And I was like, "It's been there for a long time, and if it could be fixed, that would be great." Yeah. And it is being looked into, I'm told. So
thank you for your ticket.
Yes, yeah, indeed. Yeah, your support ticket has been registered.
Your support ticket.
Good evening.
Oh man, it's been that long since I did tech support. Jeez. But
so,
yeah.
Yeah. What about yours?
Mine will probably be I for Instagram. Actually, my T is gonna be Today Calendar.
Oh.
Yeah. Twitter will probably be W.
Why?
Just because it's
the next letter. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like when you program your radio stations, you know, you look for the number.
Yes.
103.5 is 3 because 105.9 is 5.
Oh,
you know
that's
I mean?
very clever. Yes.
Yeah. And then I think my last one, I mean, the Facebook one is to me fairly obvious, but I'm trying to think of what else I would use.
Snapchat.
No.
No?
I'm actually not a big Snapchatter.
It's true. You're not and it's a giant missed opportunity because you're a wonderful Snapchatter when you decide to Snapchat.
When I decide to, I've been told that before. You, on the other hand, you are a wonderful Snapchatter all the time.
Thank you.
You always what was the term I used earlier? Chris Carlin's gonna love this. You yarn a weave with your Snapchat.
All you got to do is just yarn a bunch of weaves together. You got a big blockbuster.
Exactly.
It's a wonderful time.
I love it.
I don't know.
I think of like a game, you know, so probably like...
You don't need fast access to a game. Like, what do you do like 80 times a day on your phone, right?
True.
It's like...
I wish I had my phone on me
Twitter.
right now so I could actually turn it, like, I could look
like
at it.
See your apps.
Oh, you know what? S for syrup. That's the one. You see
Syrup?
You see this this platform under my camera?
Is that a motorized head?
It is a motorized head.
Shut up.
It's controlled by the phone, and I use it all the time.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Mine is a Kickstarter project that's been promised for months and has still not been delivered. Yeah.
These guys are a New Zealand-based company.
Really?
Yeah, and they have this huge version that can do tilts and pans and time lapses, and they made a mini version.
That is dope.
Yeah, I love this thing. It's so good.
Nice.
So I actually had the idea of like starting the camera on me, and then for the next like 40 minutes, it slowly reveals you.
That would be infuriating.
The person watching is like, who's foot?
Freaking talking to? Is this guy wearing Sperry topsiders and neon socks?
As if anybody who's listening to the cast or watching in this case wouldn't be able to tell from your voice.
Oh yeah. Oh, I guess.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
The Mr. Mobile.
The be, Mr. Mobile.
I'm gonna do that all the time. You know this, especially after our collab, which, by the way, still is the most fun we've had in a while.
Let's do another one of those.
Yeah, we don't know what for yet, but
I don't know what for yet either.
But we're planning on a lot of stuff for that. So, but yeah, the key ones.
No, wait. What the KEYone.
Yeah, the
yes.
KEYone.
Sorry, I thought you said the P1. I'm like, no, I don't know what that is. And also the key. How about that name, huh?
I mean, it makes sense, but it's also, I don't know.
I feel like that company.
Which one is capitalized again? Key or one?
Right. KEY is capitalized.
Okay.
ONE is not. And this is what that like TCL companies or companies affiliated with them tend to do. And I don't know that this came from that side of the house, so it seems like it did. But remember when they released like the Alcatel One Touch brand, and it was all caps, and we were like, I forgot what publication it wasn't. It wasn't
Weirdest looking press releases ever.
Yeah, and some publication just took point on that. Was like, yeah, we're not running that. we're gonna capitalize the A and make the One Touch camel case.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that sort of died away over time. So they like their capital letters, but I sort of wish the one was a numeric number, but whatever. I have to stop saying this because it's going to make me sound like a shill. And I hang out with the Crackberry guys too much as it is because they're my favorites. Yeah. So
we're trying to get on the podcast, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah. Once the KEYone comes out, he's
good.
The first person we're thinking of.
Oh, good. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. No, but I get so paranoid about coming off like I'm trying to sell the thing. But I am legitimately so excited about it that if I don't get like a review unit that they don't ask for back for a while, I might actually buy one.
I feel the same way.
Really? Yeah. I mean, it's too expensive. But
it's too expensive for what it is.
Yeah.
Just too expensive, I should say. $499 probably would have. I don't know. But yeah, this is the thing, and we're gonna. And I knew we were gonna get to this point at some point. This nostalgia factor, like it's weird. You know, Hollywood has hit tech in the sense that now we have all these movies that sort of harken back. We have the live action Beauty and the Beast. We have Star Wars Force Awakens that's talking about like basically it's a new hope for the new generation.
Right.
Rogue One was like it was basically a new hope right before it.
Yeah.
Like success really hinges on nostalgia sometimes, and that is, I think, the number one topic of MWC. That's like the takeaway.
It is.
And
for a nostalgia nerd like me, you could not ask for a better show as a result. Yeah. And we've seen, I think, some legitimate blowback, some legitimate like criticism of that in some editorials. I think Christina Warren had a pretty good piece on Gizmodo about why this is not good, why we should be looking toward the future instead of hearkening back toward a past that was in some ways inferior. And then you have another editorial from somebody else who I don't want to drop because I disagree, where it's just like, F this noise. Like, there's no reason to do this. And it's just sort of this like thing. It always boils down to somebody saying like, you are deriving enjoyment from this thing and I find it stupid, so I'm better. I'm like, get the fuck out of my face. Can I curse on this show?
Yeah. I would have told you when you said shit twice already, so you're good. And I agree on some level with all accounts, because the thing that makes me worry about this whole nostalgia factor is that a lot of people are going to be spending money on things that they realize after buying them they're never going to use.
Totally.
Yeah, and I'm worried about that.
And that's the other thing, right? Mm-hmm. That's the other phone in particular.
The other one. And the other thing about the Nokia 3310 in that case, I guess Nokia had to swallow a pill to make it okay for them to think, okay, we're announcing 3 devices that all run Android, and it's going to be really, or 3 smartphones, I should say.
Yeah.
3 smartphones that for all intents and purposes, people are excited to hear about because, Nokia coming into the new century and stuff like that, leaving the Lumia behind in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then this 3310 comes out and no one freaking cares anymore.
Because it's just blown all of them out of the water in terms of coverage, right?
In terms of coverage.
But I still think it was a PR super genius move. I mean, what I would have expected from what I think most companies would have done has been like, we're bringing back the 3310, and then built one, put it under glass and on like a rotating tabletop and been like, wasn't this great? Now come look at our Android phones.
Yeah.
Like Nokia built this thing that looks like the physical manifestation of the super fanboys render on some forum. And I think it looks great, But whether you think it looks great or not, you don't have to just like come to a trade show to see it. You can buy it, and you can buy it for $50.
It's $50. I cannot believe that. Did they give a release date yet?
No, April Q2.
Q2. All right, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, like I feel like April stuck out of my mind, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's great. It's not going to work in the United States, so that sucks. But you're making such a great point before, because I felt the exact same thing. By the time I was shooting footage for my like third go at Snake, I was still having so much fun, and my heart was melting because all the things we just said. But this is going to be something where the novelty is going to wear off really quick.
It really will.
People are going to buy it and be like, "Wow, this D-pad kind of sucks," and "Wow, T9 sucks," and I can't.
And everybody I know doesn't text anymore.
Oh, right. SMS is basically dead, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
that was my big thing, because, like I said, not WeChat, WhatsApp became a thing this entire show.
Right.
Everyone I met wanted me to be on WhatsApp, and I was like, all right, well, my contact list suddenly like tripled.
Ooh.
Well, I had 3 people, because I have everybody else everywhere else, Messenger in our case,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean. So what, you're going to tell your friends to text me again?
No, you got my number. Just text me.
Yeah, text me. It's like telling somebody to get on Allo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah, no one's going to want to do that.
No.
So, yeah, I do like the 3310. I like that's $50. It sucks that it's not going to work in the U.S., but I'm sure people are going to buy it anyway and try to, use it.
No doubt. Yeah.
But
yeah, but it's still... It's gonna do great things for that brand.
I hope so. I hope it doesn't pull focus too much.
I don't think it will. What do you think about the smartphones?
I have to admit to you, I didn't see them.
No,
not personally.
I walked right past them
to
get to the 3310, and that's not because they're not significant, but they're not very memorable devices to me. I think they're well constructed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're whatever, but it's sort of tough to get excited about a mid-range, high volume.
Well, had I the time, I would have given them proper shrift. But I didn't even touch the 3310.
That is a shame.
It is very much. I mean, I didn't touch it because I was like, it's $50. I'll get it. I'll figure it out.
I'll just snap it out.
I'll just freaking just grab it.
I grabbed it because I was aware, as I'm sure a lot of folks were, that it was going to be a very popular device to see on the internet for people.
Of course.
And it was amazing. That was the last video I uploaded, or the second last video I uploaded for the show. And watching it approach, equal, and then surpass all of the rest of the content that I had published was tremendous.
Yeah.
And I love that power of that of nostalgia is really, I mean, you should not question it, right?
Yeah, people long for an old day. And I don't blame anybody at all. I just hope that it doesn't stifle whatever progress that particular company is trying to make.
Yeah.
That's my one thing. BlackBerry, on the other hand, like, I'm just so happy to see them back. Like
me too.
Back.
And both of these companies are examples of good. This is another thing that bothers me about some of the criticism is that they're just taking this brand. This is this Chinese company that's taking this brand and shoving it down your throat and taking advantage of your emotions. And while they are taking advantage of your emotions, as most companies do, these companies are as close as you can get to the originals in a lot of ways. BlackBerry, like I met more BlackBerry people, BlackBerry employees. And not BlackBerry Mobile, like BlackBerry software employees at the KEYone's launch event than I met TCL or TCT people. At the Nokia thing, you look at their board of directors, they sent it out in the press pass. Like all of those people, first of all, they're not, I don't know why this is still a thing in 2017 when people can feel like they're like, oh, it's a Chinese company and feel like it's an insult in the comments. Like, what planet do you live on?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember trying to mitigate that response in a couple of videos when I did Chinese phone reviews. I think it was Meizu review. That was like, in my video I said, "Made in China. What does that make you feel?" And I guarantee you, for the majority of people, you're probably gonna want to X out of this video the moment I said that.
Right.
But I implore you not. You know, because quality can come from China, and
that $400 phone roundup I did months ago.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize this until afterwards. Every single one of them is from a Chinese company. Some of them were developed and then bought by a Chinese company, but like that, almost all the value, almost all the quality we're getting.
I love the replies to those toxic comments that are like, well, look at find the first thing you love and look at the back.
Yep, exactly. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on that tangent. But the
right.
point is that people are criticizing it. I'm like, and you're not even right. Look at the board of directors of Nokia. It's a bunch of Finnish people who worked for Nokia, got laid off, or went to work for Microsoft, then got laid off, and we're like, hey, you know what would be great? Let's all get together and make Nokia again. Let's just grab that brand.
That is awesome.
Isn't it?
That is incredibly awesome. I agree with that.
So I don't know. I think I have a sunnier take on it than I think a lot of people do.
Yeah,
from this show.
and I'm as temperate as I can possibly be. I mean, that's just the kind of person I am. So
Yeah,
I
man.
understand both sides.
Yeah.
That said, I am gonna get one mainly because it's only $50.
Yeah.
You know, I could buy a video game for that money.
That's our collab maybe. We'll just grab the 3310 and the BlackBerry.
Yeah.
And shoot a video from 2007.
We have to use like an old flip cam, like an old.
Yeah. And I'll rely on you to be our style coordinator.
Fair,
We've got to get us
fair.
some threads from back
Oh my
then.
God,
And I
well, yeah,
will
it was
pull my old
2007.
Chrysler LeBaron out of mothballs. We'll go for a convertible ride.
It's too bad my car from back then is like on its last legs.
Yeah, I got to buy a new one.
We gotta I would love to look back on like what my wardrobe. Oh my god, I was looking at old photos of myself from college, and that was around the time that I had the Bold.
You had the BlackBerry Bold?
Mm-hmm.
The
That was
first one?
basically
The 9000?
9000. That was basically my first smartphone, and
Oh my God.
I had the
Yes.
belt leather clip thing. Like it was a case that you could put on your belt, and then it made a really loud snap when the magnets came together, and it was you could tell when I was coming into a room.
Damn right. Oh, Josh is about to pay attention to us. Clack. Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, I'll never forget. One time I was running for some sort of like student organization government,
Okay.
right? And I was on my phone while other speeches were happening because I was just responding to some messages. And then when it came my time, I stood up and I was in my kind of what I'm wearing right now, and I walk up to the front and I just go snap, 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 and everyone like sat up. They're like, oh, someone needs business.
Big badass coming up to the podium.
with this clickety clackety
Blackberry.
Bold, yeah.
You know, I see you carried it in the same spot I carried my BlackBerry holster back in the day.
Right side.
When I was slinging Nextel phones, I had a BlackBerry 7520 on my belt, and right next to it I had another Nextel phone, which, as you know, it was state law that you had to carry. If you had a Nextel phone, you had to carry it on your belt in a big dumb holster.
Nice.
So I would click one into place and slap the other one into place, and I'd be like, I'm ready. I'm ready to do battle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Speaking of holsters,
Yes.
can we talk about like
Where's your holster?
I had worn it one time. It is in the apartment.
All right,
I had
good.
worn it one time.
Yeah, mine's on my back.
Okay, cool.
The LD West original, bringing you this podcast since 1994.
Can I just say how
Dope.
elated Nicole was?
Oh, to get hers?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I thought it was hilarious because when she was telling me that she was going to tell you to get one with it's like black with flowers or something
It's
on
a
it.
floral print.
I thought she was fabricating that. I didn't know that existed and
Actual
that you had.
Yeah, man. Because when I was doing some roundup of wearable cool stuff, you know, LD West is my favorite company who makes underarm phone and wallet holsters. They are, as far as I know, the only company that does that, but they were one of my favorite companies anyway. And they sent me a bunch, and I was so happy that I tried to build them all into my video, but that's the one that didn't make it in. And Nicole has been just wondering for so long about that. So I'm
Well, there you go. I mean,
happy.
the trio of us has always been like my go-to for podcasts and collaborations and whatnot. So
Damn right.
we have a name for it, but the as it goes, like things in the industry change, things in life change, these positions change, and all that stuff. But we all try to find a way to kind of come together, which is why this is so important to me.
Yeah,
and I was
man.
able to see Nicole before she left, and she felt so bad that we were only able to do about 12 minutes in that car. Yeah.
But still, you did a car podcast in
Yeah,
Mercedes.
right.
That is
My favorite part
dopest.
about it is that we did a car podcast. We didn't even talk about the car. We just talked about everything else.
Yeah.
It was just a place for us to record.
Fun fact, cars are some of my favorite places to record when I am traveling and don't have a proper sound environment.
Oh, it is nice.
Because
yeah.
a car is actually pretty acoustically dead.
now that we've done a long form podcast, I'm going to shift the other sections because it was Nicole and then Juan that I have done sections with. So,
you did Juan?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I went with Juan. We did that in the press room, and because I was like, should we do this in the press room because I feel like we're going to disturb people? And then Juan was like, I like disruption. So here we are cracking jokes.
What a California thing to say,
right?
You guys are made for each other.
And here we are laughing it up, and like we make some jokes, and then Juan has a very, very genuine yet very, what's the term I'm looking? It's as if he fills a room with his laugh.
Oh yeah.
And when we started like joking around and he started laughing, I got a little nervous because I was looking.
You got a little self-conscious.
Yeah, I got a little self-conscious about it. So I was a little bit worried. So my voice got a little bit lower as the podcast went on. So I hope that doesn't change the viewing and the listening experience at all.
I'm sure it will.
What was I going to say before that? I'm going to shift those two to the front. So this will be our ending for this podcast because I love that we went for as long as we did.
Yeah, me too.
It comes to show to you, this is what happens when the two of us get together.
I know. I'm glad it finally happened.
Was there anything else that we could talk about from it? Like, I actually didn't get a lot of food here that.
No.
Like, I didn't get Barcelonian.
Well, I did, but I feel like it's always the same stuff, right?
Well, of course it is.
And it's
but
delicious and it's wonderful. But.
Well, there was a sushi spot right next to our apartment that we ended up just sort of spamming.
Really?
Yeah.
There was a cafe across from our apartment where I like relearned the majority of the Spanish I needed to get by here because they were so sweet behind the counter. There's always a woman saying, "Hola, buenos dias." I'm like, how are you doing? And by the end of it, I was able
how
to
are
say,
you?
Yeah. How you doing? But they had the most hilarious concoctions at this place, like the croissants and the donuts and the coffee and all great. But in this other cabinet, they had like there was what I can only describe to you as a lengthened extruded pizza. Maybe 3 inches wide by about 12 inches long. Okay. That had running down its center line a giant hot dog. It was a hot dog pizza.
Oh.
And I bought the shit out of it. And it was just heavenly. I think I was a little hungover.
That does sound pretty awesome.
It was great. And then the next day they didn't have it. I was sad. Mm-hmm. Then I saw a similar lengthened pizza with a bunch of chopped hot dog on top of it. I'm like, you guys really like your hot dog pizzas. And
all the sausages here. You know what? This is the first time I've seen that kind of dish too.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was the last 3 years.
The last couple times. Same with those aioli potatoes. The instead of
that's an institution, bro.
But dude, I don't remember it from any other year.
Oh.
So this is the first year I've consciously been like, oh my god, this is the thing. Mm-hmm. At IFA in Berlin we have currywurst, and here we have heart attack potatoes.
Patatas bravas.
That's what it's called. Yes,
which
thank you.
Roughly translated is brave potatoes.
That's what Google translated it as. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I remember the waitress coming by and I was just like, patatas bravas? And I was like, oh, what does that mean? And she goes, the brave potato. And then she snickered when she said that. She's like, I know. For me, story time for me would be that my first night here when I arrived, 3 hours after that, I found myself roaming the streets of Barcelona with Nick Gray.
My God, really?
And Edgar and a friend that we had met first time that night, this lovely lady.
Yeah.
And this lovely young lady. And the four of us, and she's an enabler to the max. So she was basically trying to find every little bit of alcohol to put into our bodies while simultaneously not having any. So we were having that big problem. And
this is at nighttime?
This was at nighttime, yeah, and we're just running around. And there are people in Barcelona, by the way, who run around with just like
a 4-pack.
The 4-pack, yeah. And you just sort of pay like €1 each, which is nothing, which is absolutely nothing.
You bought beers from we started calling them the free beer titty guys, the free beer titty bar guys.
Edgar just
while they're selling you a beer, they're showing you like a video on their phone of like.
Oh, we haven't.
The titty bar they represent.
Oh, we didn't see any of that.
They didn't really.
These guys were just straight up like, I got beer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Edgar called them the Indian guys. But
I guess yeah,
a lot of them are.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just just that. I'm giving this shout out to Nick Gray because thank God for him because the key situation with our apartment was really tough. There's only a couple of keys, and there were like 9 dudes. Mm-hmm. Not all in one place, but for 2 places, yeah. So it was hard to get back in, and we were worried we weren't going to be able to get back in because everyone was asleep. So we were out just I think we got like 3 6-packs that night because we just kept walking around. There were no bars open, so we just kept walking around and drinking together. And Nick was like, well, I guess we could go back to my hotel, like, you know, if you want to keep drinking. We're like, fine. It ended up being that the lovely lady went back home because she had to go to work in the morning. And then Edgar, Nick, and I had our own little cuddle party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cuddle pile, rather. Our little cuddle pile, rather.
Hashtag cuddle pile too.
So we wake up in the morning and Nick is like, hey, I gotta check out.
I gotta get out of here, man.
God bless you, Nick. Thank you so much. And I told him, no night of yours is going to compare to that first night. I bet you. And he was like, it got close, but you're right. So we had a really good time with that. So Barcelona still has its stories. I was speaking of nostalgia. I was thinking about previous years when we were at HTC Frequencies.
I walked by that hotel that we were staying at, and I had a very poignant memory. As a matter of fact. Wait, it was. Oh, that Frequencies lined up with MWC.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So this is why I was confused. I think it was 2 years ago, right? Not last year. It was 2 years ago.
We bought our Pebble Times together.
We did. We ordered our Pebble Time. Oh, R.I.P. Pebble again.
Yeah.
Isn't it hilarious that the 2 days after we made that, one of those videos that Fitbit bought Vector too, by the way.
No.
But I had a very sad memory from that, because that Starbucks we worked at during that MWC, I was sitting at when I learned the news that Leonard Nimoy had passed away.
Oh.
And Rich from Phone Scoop happened to be sitting across from me at the time, and I'm like typing stuff away. We're doing phone stuff, and he just kind of looks up and he's like, Did you hear about Spock? And I was like, yeah, I did. He was.
You remember that we were talking about it during that trip, yeah. And I remember the live streams and podcasts we did at MWC. We were giving our respects. I do remember that.
Can't believe that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Time flies.
Yeah.
And last year we had our drunken podcast in our secondary apartment with Miriam and Jaime.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh God, did you get a 6-pack from one of the guys on the way there?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't trust those beers at all. I'm amazed that you guys survived that encounter.
Well, I mean, Edgar is the one who would say this. He said they're sealed. I mean,
fair.
We all could learn a thing or two from photographer for Android Authority, Edgar Cervantes. We could all learn a thing or two from the free spirit that is Edgar.
Yes, I think that's right.
God bless him. Well, we're getting wistful at the end of this. Yeah,
that's
which is usually a sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
we should go find ourselves some brave potatoes.
Some brave potatoes with some hot dogs that don't fold.
Yeah. Hot dog pizza.
Hot dog pizza.
Hot dog pizza, brave potato.
Well, I want to thank everybody for listening and watching the Android Authority podcast for this. I had guests on, of course. And you know what? Feel privileged. Okay? Feel privileged. Because of you, I'm not going to have to record the last segment. I'll say who it was supposed to be. I'll say who it was supposed to be later off camera.
I bumped somebody.
You did. You bumped somebody,
God.
and just so you know, and that way our listeners and viewers won't be able to surmise. It's one of the people I'm hanging out with this weekend.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well. Don't I feel fancy?
So yeah, thank you so much for watching and listening. I'm gonna go ahead and do the outro after this clip is done, and probably just off camera. But yeah, thank you so much, brother.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, you
went
this whole hour without.
It would have been really smooth if we hadn't done it like that.
You went a whole hour with a lamp in your face.
That's right. It's all right. It's good. That's what I prefer. Thanks for having me, man. This was fun.
All right, cool. Well, that should do it for with the end of the podcast. That usually means it's just about the end of the coverage of MWC 2017. So thank you for watching and listening, especially to this podcast. We'll be back next week, and we're coming up on our episode number 100. So, I mean, that's going to be some good times.
Indeed. Congratulations in advance.
Thank you. Technically, we're actually at 108. But you have the specials, and you take the weeks off.
Supplementals.
But yeah, so watch out for that. But I should really do the outro later.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll do the outro off camera.
Well, then I suppose that this won't make it in anyway. So, stay mobile, my friends.
Hey, Android.